Okay guys, we're going to move into decimals now that we've finished the fractions unit. And we're going to start off just with some place value and then going into some rounding with this one. So first, it says being able to say what a decimal is correctly will get you much closer to the next few areas. And really it's going to help you more on when we start to switch things between fractions and decimals and so forth. But it's really going to help you get started here. Okay, so remember you got the decimal here in the middle. Okay, and when you have the decimal, okay, there in the middle, when you're reading off a number, you're actually going to say and as the decimal, right? Okay. Next to the decimal, you have the ones, then you have the tens, then you have the hundreds, then you have the thousands, and then you have the 10,000s. Okay. And then to the right of the decimal, you have the tenths with the th on the end. You have the hundredths. You have the thousandths. You have the 10,000ths. And we'll stop at that one. After that would be the 100,000ths if you want to fill that in. Now if you notice here, look, you have 1 in the middle, and then it goes tens, hundreds, thousands, and you keep that ones there, and then you go tenths, hundredths, thousands. Okay, so everything here is actually just a factor of 10. That means that you either multiply or divide by 10 to get the next one, okay? That's what you're doing. Alright, let's move this up. Okay, so example says write 29.43 in words. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to write out the whole number. Okay, so if you look, your whole number is the part before the decimal, right? So that's this part right here, 29. So you just write that out, 29. You use and for the decimal. Okay, so 29 and, there's our decimal there, and. Then you write the numbers after the decimal as if they were whole numbers. So if you look after the decimal, right, we have this these two numbers here, 43. So you're just going to write it as if they were whole numbers. Okay. So you write it out as whole numbers, and then you write the place value of the last digit. Okay, so see how the 3 there, that ends, not the tenths, that's the hundredths place. And you just write that as the end because it's in the hundredths. So you get 29, which is the whole number, and for the decimal, okay, 43, that's the regular number after it, and then you write hundredths because that's where it ends. That's the place value it ends in. Alright, go ahead and try these a shot and see if you can do that really quick. Alright, so if we write this first one, okay, we write the whole number first. So we got 62. There's our decimals next, so that's going to be and. Okay, and then we write our number after the decimal, that's 19. And then it ends in the hundredths place, so 19 hundredths. Okay, so that's simple. Alright, and then the last one, we have 106. Next is our decimal, so and. Okay, and 027, okay, we say that as 27, right? And 27. And it ends in the thousandths place. Thousandths. Okay, that's it. That's all there is to it. Okay, so write out the whole number, put and for the decimal, write the number after the decimal as if you were writing as a whole number, and then finally write the place value that it ends in. Okay, do a little practice at that. We're going to keep moving on here though. We're going to move into rounding now. Alright, so rounding. Hopefully you guys remember the rounding. You'll probably remember a couple things about this, okay? So when you end up with really long decimals, sometimes we don't want them to be really long. A lot of times when you're talking about money, you'll want to make sure you end that in the hundredths place. And sometimes they end up longer than that, so you have to make sure you round it correctly. Your grades are rounded to make sure that they're accurate as well. Okay, so how do we round? Okay, so first of all, what I like to do is I like to underline. Okay, underline the number. This is a little spelling error. Underline the correct number you are rounding. Okay, so you can cross out the little number there. So underline the number you are rounding. Okay, now in this case we want to round to the thousandths place. So the decimal's right there. So we go the 2, the 9, the 6 is in the thousandths place, so we underline the 6. Now what I like to do is I like to draw a little arrow to the number to the right of it. Okay, so see if the number to the right, step 2, see if the number to the right of it is 5 or more, or 4 or less. Okay, and that is going to tell you what to do with your rounding. Okay, now in this case we have a 3, so it's 4 or less. Okay, now if the number is 5 or more, okay, move the rounding number up 1. If it is 4 or less, okay, keep it the same. So because it's 4 or less, okay, the 3 is less than 4, so the 6 that we're trying to round stays the same. Okay, so 37 and 296 thousandths. Okay, and then there's one last little part here. Whoop, sorry about that. Okay, and the important part here, number 4, drop the numbers after the rounded decimal. Okay, so if you're after the decimal, you drop all the rest of the numbers. Don't put zeros in their place, just drop it. Okay, now if you're before the decimals, you want to put zeros in its place to keep it in the right place. But if it's after, drop it. Okay. All right. Give these a shot down here and see if you can do these. You want to round them to the hundredths place. So actually before, make sure you know where you're doing it, right? Okay, the decimal's there, hundredths place, and the first one is the 7, and the second one is the 9. All right, give those a shot really quick. Okay. So I already underlined the 7, so now I'm going to look to the number to the right, look to the 9. Now the 9 is obviously more than 5, right? So that means I'm going to move the 7 up. So I keep the 397.2, and my 7 goes up because I'm 5 or more. So 7 becomes an 8, and I leave everything else off. And that's the answer. You're done. Okay, now this one's a little trickier, right? Because we got a 9 that we're going to look to. So we look to the 6, and the 6 says we're going to move it up because it's greater than 5. So this 9, okay, well the 9 becomes a 10. Okay, so what you do, just like if you were going to add 1, okay, so if you want to do that, if you want to like put a little plus 1 to it, so you can see what you're doing. So 9 and 1 is 10, we carry the 1, and 1 and 3 is 4, and then we bring down our 6 and our 2. There you go. That's it. So when you're rounding and you have to move up, all you're doing is adding 1 to that column. So if you want to put the little plus 1 to remind yourself how to do it right, that's not a bad idea to do. Again, give those both a shot. Okay, you're going to do place value. You're going to be writing words, writing decimals in words and so forth, and then you're also going to be doing some rounding.